what we have is a system set up to fail our students, where folks aren't being prepared for the next step. So, you know, maybe you didn't go to pre-K, so then when you get to kindergarten, little Johnny's getting in trouble because he's just moving around too much and he's too antsy because he hasn't learned how to, you know, behave in that classroom environment or what have you. And then each grade doesn't prepare him for the next, so that he's behind from the very beginning. You know, then he doesn't get into a good high school. Maybe he's in the neighborhood high school that, you know, there's all these fights going on and there's this and there's that and there's distraction, you know, from the actual learning. And so then he's never prepared for college.
Incidents like the woman getting hit in the face by the sergeant in Philadelphia, the police officer, you know, why that erupted into what it was, or which goes on to other things, but you know, those incidents create havoc in the community, not just because a man hit a woman, but that went beyond that.
Puertorriqueños say, si Dios quiere, you know, they put it in the will of, you know, they just throw it out there in the will of something. Even though God, if it's in God's will, yes. But you also have to work for it, and you have to, you know, apply for this job. You can't just say, Lord, if it's God's will, I'm gonna get the job and not apply. So people, they procrastinate. They just, they put themselves down. They put their borders in front of themselves. Like, you know. But I don't know if I can do this because I don't know if I can read that well. And the Latinos, we go into stuff already thinking that we're already at a disadvantage.
Going back to the money, as the money gets smaller, right? There's only so much you can do, but there's still this great need. So I think that that's something that's always going to, and plus all these waves of new immigrants that come, that it's not just the Puerto Rican community anymore. It's the Dominican community, it's the Mexican community, it's, you know, those that come from South America. But we still have this common issue, which is we speak a language that we want to acknowledge and celebrate, but it becomes that disadvantage.
Y he aprendido bastante a conocer las diferentes culturas, porque en las clases de los sábados ahí en Latino Partnership enseñan muchas cosas que yo no sabía. Y es interesante porque aquí hay mucho latino y tenemos que aprender a convivir y a compartir con estas diferentes culturas, que no es fácil.
So you guys want to be leaders. Am I right to hear that correctly?
Yes.
And you want to be leaders of what? Of what you want to be leaders?
Community.
Latino community? Of what?
Latino community.
Latino community? Anybody else?
What are you?
You want to be a leader of the youth?
Yes.
Role model?
Yes.
Who else? Come on, guys. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, but I need you to wake up. What else? We got leadership. We got the Latino community. What else?
Family.
What else? So the first answer that you should have gave, I want to be a leader for myself, for the island. Keep that in mind. And I'm going to tell you why you're going to have to keep that in mind. You are part of one of the most intensive leadership programs in Pennsylvania, maybe even in the nation. You could attend a lot of leadership programs that will give you philosophies, that will give you theories, but most of them will not bring it back to you. This leadership program will bring it back to you. It's all about you. It's all about your development. It's all about your growth. It's all about your values. It's all about your principles. Because it starts at home. And I'm going to say this to you right now. You may not believe me, but this course will change you. By the end of this course, you will change. And if you do not change, we haven't done our job. Me, I'm going to be hard on you. I'm going to be demanding on you. I'm going to expect from you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to get you angry. I'm going to get you pissed off. Does everybody know why I'm going to do that?
Challenge.
Can anybody tell me why I'm gonna do that? Don't be scared to talk around me, come on. To challenge you. Because if I don't challenge you, and we don't challenge you, you don't grow. If behavior doesn't change, learning hasn't occurred. My goal is to teach you as much theory and practical approaches that I could, but my major goal is to change you. My major goal is for you to build some insight, so when you walk out of this training, when you finish this course, you'll be having a much better person, a stronger person, a person with convictions and values, and a person that can handle anything that life throws at them. Not all of you is going to become executive directors of organizations. Not all of you is going to become politicians. Not all of you is going to run multi-dollar organizations. But all of you have families. All of you know kids in the neighborhood. All of you have relatives. That you may have to become that person that could help them, that could direct them, that could guide them, that could build some insight, and maybe even sometimes avoid them completely. Everybody got that? And why I didn't do that? Because if I train you guys to be leaders, if I train you guys to challenge the process, if I train you guys to express your opinions, not to be scared, if I train you guys to challenge anybody, doesn't matter who it is, because nobody's better than you and you are no better than nobody. I don't give a title. Titles don't mean shit to me. If I taught these young people that stuff, then it's my right and obligation to listen and to give them the opportunity to do what they think is right. What I want you to do now with your group, a discussion, 10 minutes, is to discuss how you're going to lay off those people and what criteria you're going to use. What are the standards you're going to use, and how many you're going to lay off, and who you're going to lay off out of the bottom of the group in the bottom. Everybody got that? All right? Get together, group, and start.
Let's say I'll forgive them. Laid off.
Trying to put it out there.
You might have the same time.
Because I'm saying I agree.
Well, if I look at my kids,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying lay off 3 people.
exactly, so you can't just go by that.
That's just giving you an example. Breakdown.
That is not, so, like what I'm trying to say is this is not your full determining factor.
Well, those are your people.
Right.
Those are your people.
This is who they are.
And I just gave you a general idea of the racial ethnic breakdown.
Right.
The rest of it, you decide. Right?
That's hard.
This one? Okay. So we laid off the 2 males and 1 21 to 29 bracket, like the person that was in that criteria that fit there. And according to the criteria, we went by dependability, accuracy, productivity level, and if they're a team player or not.
They're what?
If they're a team player or not within what
So you're laying off 2 males.
2 males.
And 1 from the age?
From the age of 21 to 29.
And the reason for that is?
For the age?
Oh, the reason is for...
Well, the ratio between males and females is 6 and 4, so we just even it out So it'll be 4 females and 4 males.
First, what did you take into consideration? How did you build your criteria? How did you come up with that decision?
I think we try to look at it from both sides. Like, our biggest thing was trying to figure out like if we were going to focus on just like the demographic information or other factors. So we kind of try to put both of them out there. So if we were just looking at other factors, if like the demographics weren't provided, we would go based off how dependable they were, if they were very accurate, their productivity level, and them being a team player. If we were just focusing on demographics solely, then it would be the breakdown that he just explained.
Okay.
So we try to look at it.
Well, that decision would have been harder to make if you had to make it by yourself.
Usually in a big company, it's a board committee, and we had to vote.
I mean, I made it a group. I could have made it an individual decision, but we would have been here all day long. I made it a group. And then with a group situation, it's much a little easier because you could walk away with your conscience a little more cleaner because you could say, I didn't make it, the group made it. That takes a lot of responsibility and weight off of you. Because remember, you lay off people, you're impacting lives. Yeah? You're impacting lives. You're affecting lives, and you don't know how you're affecting them. You know what I'm saying? So making it as a group decision, you know, ease the process, plus it gives everybody else opinion in it. You know, but if you have to make it by yourself, that is an extremely hard decision. And not only that, I would say to you, get all the information you can to make that decision. I'm not giving you all the information, but if you're going to make that decision, make sure you have all the information that you can. So you can walk away with your conscience what? Yeah. That you had to do a job and you did the best you can to be fair in that group.
So my team, when we decided, we couldn't make a choice at all. We didn't even come down to who we would let go because based on the same reason as everybody, there wasn't enough information. Just to go based off these 3 things, it's impossible. You need more information to actually go, you know, to actually letting someone go and the reason behind it. To make that decision is
We don't have enough data, we don't have enough.
Yeah.
There's not enough information.
Yeah.
You guys didn't make a decision.
We can't come to a decision.
So we leave everybody off.
Yeah, to leave everybody off.
Yeah.
You heard what Daddy said?
So you 3 get laid off.
If I was your boss, and I walked in, and I gave a sheet of paper and said, you need to lay 3 off. And I come back a week later and say to you, who are you laying off? And you say that to me, guess what?
Well, before that week, I would do what you told me, the true leadership reverse. So I will go back to you, and I will ask you for more information.
And I'll say to you, it's your department. I'm telling you to lay off 3. I don't care how you do it, lay off 3. Is that real? Would a boss come and say that to you? Yes, it's real. You know why it's real? Because they're the one who make the decision. They're passing the buck.
What they pay you for?
That's right. They're passing the buck. So it's up to you to make a decision. No matter if you don't have all the information or not, whatever you got, you're going to have to make that decision. If you don't make the decision, guess who's up the creek?
You are.
You are. Because as your boss, I will come and say, well, wait a minute. You couldn't make a decision. And what kind of director are you? What kind of manager I got here? Well, you can't make a decision. And you'll say to me, well, you didn't give me enough information. And I said, I gave you plenty of information. 3 people get laid off. And gave you the whole responsibility how to do it. And it's a group. Yeah? Guess who would have been laid off? 1, 2, 3. It's real, guys. These situations happen every day. And when you're a director or when you're a manager, you're going to have to make decisions that you're extremely uncomfortable. Extremely uncomfortable. And you got to make it based on your criteria. Because you're going to make it based on you, not on somebody else. You're going to make it based on what your criteria are, not on somebody else. And that's where a lot of times the prejudice comes in. You know, I had a group one time say, well, shit, I'm going to lay everybody else off except the Latinos. You know, why are you going to lay everybody else except the Latinos? Well, fuck it, I'm Latino. I'm going to look after my own. Is that a right attitude?
No.
No. As a manager, that's not the right attitude, because as a manager, you have the responsibility to ensure that your component, your department meets its goals and objectives. Your attitude is, I gotta meet my goals, what my boss expects for me, I gotta meet my goals and objectives. And I gotta get the best people that could do that job, so what? So I'm doing my job. But a lot of the decisions that are made nowadays are made on color, are made on race, are made on basis, bias, or sex. And the biggest discrimination we have nowadays, folks, is age discrimination. The biggest discrimination we've got is not as much race nowadays, it's age discrimination. A lot of companies are forcing out the people that are 60 or 50, one, because they bring the younger people in, they pay them cheaper. They don't have to give them all the benefits. You know, it benefits the company, but it doesn't benefit the senior citizens. All right? Anybody got any response according to the exercise? Any questions, any answers? Not saying that you guys can take the right stand, but I'm saying that you got to pay the consequences when you take that stand.
I mean, they're like a work organization.
But it's a learning, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to
You
learn.
do, let me say to you right now, you do work in an organization like that.
Yes.
It's not like you don't want to work in an organization like that. You do work in an organization like that. And I don't care where you work at. I don't care if you work for the city, I don't care if you work for Congress, I don't care where you work for APM, I don't care who you work for. That person making that decision, who gets hired, who gets fired, who gets raises and all that, has their own presidency, has their own outlook, and they're going to be based on that. They're not going to be based on your performance. And Lord knows if he walks in one day and I don't like the way he's dressed, and I'm one of his boss, I mean, I show him my presidency, but there's other ways I take it out. What, is lunch 3 hours now? I'm only late 5 minutes. 5 minutes is late. Anybody have bosses like that? Ain't it fun to work with? You know, those are the kind of guys that you go out early and you flatten out their tires. All right. This exercise is real. Learn from it. And these kind of decisions you're going to have to make all the time, even with your family. It doesn't have to be a fire, or you're going to fire somebody, or you're going to hire somebody. These kind of decisions you're going to have to make all the time. But you have to come from here. If you start coming from here, you're going to make mistakes. You got to come from the basis of what's right, what's just, what's fair. If you're a woman, you just can't say, oh man, a rotten son of a bitch, and I want to just keep the woman and hell with the men. Does that happen? Yes. And more, it's happening more and more. All right? Okay, 5 minute break. Everybody back in 5 minutes.